Welcome to Reel 9, a podcast devoted to obscure cinema. Hosted by horror enthusiasts, Creepy Uncle Kevin, and Dungeon Dan. On Reel 9, we bring you the facts, the news, the reviews, and the fun. This is Reel 9! Hello, and today we'll be discussing the film Wild Beast, made in 1984, directed by Franco E. Prosperi. Before we get started talking about the movie, let's go on a little bit of the history of the director so we understand how this relates to his motion picture. His one and only feature film that was, how do I say this, not a documentary.
His name is
Franco E. Prosperi. First off, you got to understand that he graduated in natural and agricultural sciences, and he started his scientific career in ethnological and ethological research at the Institute of Zoology at the University of Rome. Ethnological is the study of characteristics in human beings and how they adapt and change within their relationships, and ethnological is the study of animals, which is perfect for the film that he ended up making. He also later specialized in ichthyology, which is the study of fishes. He was the pioneer of underwater research and collaborated with the Italian Center Research Divers. He conducted the first Italian underwater scientific expedition in the Indian Ocean, and he also was awarded the Golden Spear for underwater research. It was around 1954, 1955 where he started to notice that people were making all these nature documentaries, and he wanted to get involved in it. He also started to write several books, which I don't know any of the titles of them, and they were all written, they're in Italy, and they're written in Italian, and they're about animals and stuff like that.
Get to the point!
Well, he started to get this interest in documentaries is when he met this man named, and sorry, well, he's dead, he's not going to know. Sorry to the relatives of the guy, but it's...
His name is
Gilterio Jacopotti. Jacopotti? I don't know, I'm not Italian. Jacopetti.
Jacopetti?
It's got to be it.
There
That
you
sounds
go.
more Pinocchio, right? So he meets Jacopetti, and this guy, I guess, is a wannabe filmmaker as well, and he also meets up with someone named Paul Cavara, who I could never find any information about. Interestingly enough, so between Franco Prosperi and this guy, Jacopetti, how am I going to do this? Prosperi and Jacopetti. All
I
right.
think you should just stop saying his name.
So anyway, but these two guys pioneered, and I mean, what they did was they changed cinema in a way. Because they made, the first film they made together was Mondo Cane, which everyone knows about. It's sort of the first version of, like, Faces of Death. It changed cinema that way. And not only that, but it was a huge hit here in America. It definitely made Italy stand out with some of the footage they have over there. There's lots of sex, strange things that they were eating, and there's tons of violence, too. This film also got nominated for an Academy Award. I believe it won for Best Soundtrack, which is really weird.
Mondo Cane did?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I've heard the soundtrack only in the trailer after I heard that information, so I'm gonna have to check it out. How did that happen?
I don't know.
So wait, yeah, Mondo Cane was in 1962. It was a huge hit, and then after that, it spawned off. I believe technically only one sequel, Mondo Cane 2, also known as La Donna del Mondo. I believe this was in 1963. They made another one, Mondo Plaza, in 1963 as well. One of the most acclaimed ones, or the most legendary for me, hearing about it in the like video nasties world, is a documentary called Africa Adeo, subtitled or what is it? Captioned. Africa Adeo, Blood and Guts. Or maybe it's Africa Audio. Is that how it was pronounced? Africa Audio. Like, maybe Adios, Africa. You guys are fucked.
I don't. I always called it, Blood and Guts. Africa Blood and Guts.
Yeah, Africa Blood and Guts.
Does blood turn you
and
on?
that movie's really gross and documentary style. And then he made Goodbye, Uncle Tom, which is about slavery. And it's a documentary as well. And then he made Mondo Cane, and this is in 1975. Okay, so after this, they made 5 pictures together. After this, Franco Prosperi and Jacopetti break up for some reason. They stop working together, and there's about a 10-year gap. Why did they stop working together, you may ask?
Why do I want to have that conversation?
Well, I have... Thanks for asking. I have my own speculations. Check this out. This Jacopetti guy is a freaking freak.
In what way?
Well, first off, he's considered one of the creators of Mondo film and shockumentaries. During World War II, he served in the Italian resistance to the fascist dictator Mussolini. After the war, he became a journalist. He co-founded a very influential liberal news weekly called Chronic. Yo! Now, it sounds like Chronic. It's spelled, I'm serious, okay, listeners, Cronache. So he was writing for the Chronic, right? He just doesn't know how to fucking spell. What is it? Chronic?
I don't. It's some Italian word, but it's.
I think it's
like chronic.
Italian for the Chronic. So he's working for High Times in Italy back in the 60s. Only to have his pot publication shut down for publishing risque photographs of actress Sophia Loren. I'm going to try and re-say that, but I don't give a fuck, really. He was forced to shut down production on the news weekly The Chronic after publishing risque photographs of actress Sophia Loren, which caused the paper to be charged with manufacturing and trading pornographic material. A charge with Joe Petty served 1 year in prison.
Damn, that's harsh.
That's fucking way harsh. So just there, a year in prison he had. Then also, he once seduced an underage gypsy girl despite the armed resistance of her gypsy tribe.
Little freak.
What exactly does that mean?
I don't know, but that's what it says about him. And then also it says he was also once sentenced to 3 months in a Hong Kong jail for the abduction of 2 underage Chinese girls.
Filthy little freak.
So the guy's a pedophile.
Yeah, what the fuck? So
I wonder.
Yeah.
So it took 10 years for our other guy to figure it out, and he's all like, can't work with you.
Right. So they worked together, I guess that'd be about a little over a decade. So their last film was in 1975. And then it was in 1984 when Franco Prosperi came out and had written his own screenplay and decided to direct his own movie, which was a fictional movie instead of all the nonfiction stuff. So it's the first time that he wrote a screenplay and the first time he set out to make an actual motion picture, and the result is Wild Beast, which will also be his last motion picture.
Wow, that's a terrific story, sir.
Dan,
Yes.
what did you think about the movie when you first saw it? I'll go first.
Go first.
Because I think you have a different opinion than me, a little bit. First off, I saw this movie when I was really young. I think I was about 20, and it hit me immensely then, I guess, because I was really obsessed with Italian cinema. And this had just the right amount of really bad dubbing, and it just felt Italian to me. I guess I did recognize the actress Lorraine Dicelli from Cannibal Ferox and House of the Edge of the Park, even though I hadn't seen House of the Edge of the Park yet, but I've seen Cannibal Ferox. And I love the animal attack stuff and the violence of it, and it was so real and gritty. I actually would give it 4 stars as far as I love the crappy music. All the faults in the movie I enjoyed. And because I think I saw it at 20 for my first time without having heard of this movie before and not knowing what I was going into, I was blown away more. But so that's my review, and it holds something more to my youth, and so therefore I like it a little more on that.
Well, that was a pretty good review.
Okay.
I thought you were going to jump all over it.
No, I'm
Which
going to
means
jump all over it when we discuss the movie. That was my there's no spoilers review there.
Oh, okay. So
Right.
I'll give you my review, and I'm going to really have to watch the spoilers because you know me.
Yeah, then
left
we'll
field.
do this all the spoilers. We'll help them.
But I agree with you. At the time that this was coming out, I was just getting into Italian cinema, and they always had this trademark of bad dubbing, bad music in a way.
Yeah.
But they were always good films. They were always a lot gorier than what we got to watch here. And even though at that time I wasn't all about the gore, it usually had a relatively scary context.
Yeah.
So when I first sat down to watch this, I didn't see it right away in 1984. I wound up catching it on video later.
Mhm.
But for me, I like wild animals going crazy movies because it's actually within the realm of possibility. It could happen, and it does happen. Every once in a while you'll hear it on the news. What was the name of the guy? Siegfried and Roy.
Yeah.
They had those strange tigers for all those years, and it just turned on them.
Alligators are attacking Disney World.
Well, I would too.
Yeah.
But so for me, it was a nice mixture of animals, people running. It was bloody. and it actually had a good story, and the cheese factor made it all the better for me. I loved how some of the stuff is so cheesy, some of the lines and things like that, which we'll get into here shortly.
Yeah.
So for me, I would also give it a 4 out of 5. In today's world, most people would watch this and think we're ridiculous.
I agree.
And I would say that's a shame. I think everybody should give this movie a look. I mean, it's not that hard to find online. I'm sure if you look around on some of the paid services, it's around. But worst case scenario, I'm sure it can't be more than $5 on DVD. I can look that up later. But I would say you should see it because it just gives you the feel of 1980s horror.
Yeah, there's
And
something classic
and that's
about the
when
feel.
it was booming. 80s horror was booming in America, and we were lucky to start getting some Italian mixed in with it.
Yeah.
So there's my review. What do you think?
I
Do you
think,
agree
well,
with
we agree, both 4 stars.
Yeah,
So that's
it's
good.
great. So now let's talk about the movie. Let's get into the fun part of this.
All right.
What do you want to talk about first? You start.
Let's take a break.
And now, a word from Kevin's sponsor.
Coming soon.
Look out! Here comes the wildest bunch of back-clawing, bloodlusting, shine-drinking, pill-taking, pot-smoking, crypt-taking, law-breaking, bootlegging, cop-killing, fast-living characters you've ever seen.
It's the moonshine blockbuster of the year. See them both. The Bootlegger. He wanted the money, and he didn't care how. He's mean and mad for moonshine. The Bootlegger. Plus, on the same bill,
Moonshiner's Woman. Mix moonshine with LSD, and you take a murder trip. Moonshiner's Woman. From the backwoods to the bright lights, she was big trouble. It's big action, big trouble, big excitement. Moonshiner's Woman. Moonshiner's Woman. Moonshiner's Woman. Moonshiner's Woman. It makes Thunder Road look like an ice cream social.
Welcome back to Real 9.
Yes! We're here to discuss the film Wild Beasts. By the way, I guess we didn't really tell you what it's about. Basically, it's about...
Hold up! Spoiler alert!
Animals on PCP. Okay.
No, don't tell them that. That you just gave away the whole movie.
Well, we're in the spoilers section now, aren't we?
Oh, okay. I guess we are.
You think... Now, I think it says that on the back of the box, though, doesn't it?
I don't know. I haven't read the back of the box.
That's because the fucking box doesn't exist.
No, man. It's been gone forever.
You gotta... I hear there's a great way to find this movie on YouTube, though.
Mm-hmm.
If you
Some
look it
fool
up,
named Kevin.
you gotta type in the full name and like the year and the director, though, because whoever put it up's really precise and detailed. So check it out.
All right. So first thing about the movie that I kind of got a kick out of was the classic Italian movie where you have the happy club music with the saxophone playing and all the shots of the city.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you're getting a lot of shots of water. And they kind of put shots of water in, like fountains and gutters and all kinds of other different things. But at the same time, they got these nice overshots of the city from a helicopter. I mean, it all looks very dated, of course. Film wasn't that great back then, but at the same time, it gives you an impression of the city. I also like that the Italians never really wanted to do movies in their own city. It always seems that they always made it like some northern city. Isn't that how they put it on this one?
I don't know. I don't remember that.
I remember seeing it pop up, and because when I watch a movie, I try to figure out what city it's in. But they always try to make their movies look like it could be in any city anywhere in the world except like the Middle East, because those cities look a lot different.
They always try to make it look like New York.
Yeah, there you go. It's always a New York shot. So during our title sequence, we're not really seeing any animals. We're just seeing the city and lots of water. And then we get this like going down an escalator to a subway shot where there's all these syringes stuck in things.
Sloppy junkies are the worst.
Sloppy junkies, and it's like nowhere else. You don't see these things anywhere else. It's just a big pile at the bottom. It's on the escalator rail.
And
but it's at
apparently
the
these
bottom.
syringes are just like still full and ready to use. You can just grab one, right? Because they're all loaded.
I picked up on that not when I saw them on the escalator, but when they showed them down on the ground. They looked empty, but all the stoppers were completely up, like they were full and ready to be used. And
Right.
I'm like, any junkie I've ever known, and I don't know a lot of them, they put the stuff in and then throw the needle away. They don't open it back up and
We know. I know who you're talking about, Dan. It's okay. You don't have to bring up that old shit, though. At least I had nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Everyone chooses their own friends, and people make mistakes. But yeah, you would know that the syringe is left like that. I didn't pick up on that. You showed me right away, though, and you're right.
It was just a weird way to do it. I mean, maybe it was just somebody in production not really thinking, or maybe they're like, hey, when these are shut, when they're all the way down, they don't really look like syringes, even though they're like horse syringes. They were huge.
Yeah,
so maybe that was it.
So apparently you just like you shoot up while you go down the escalator, and then right when you go to the subway, you just hug it into the pile.
Yeah, you just you add to that pile, But so
Dan,
that's
Dan,
yeah.
Tell your girlfriend to be quiet back there.
I was hoping you couldn't hear that.
Is she still strapped down?
Yeah, she misbehaved.
Dude, this has
She
been
has to be
like
taught.
almost 2 days, bro. It was past 24 hours, like 24 hours ago.
I'm feeding her
With what? Jesus.
helium. I don't know how to make him stop.
You really got
And he's bringing it in the office.
It's a guy this time?
It's my dog.
Oh.
Diego, buddy, I'm on a podcast. You can't be playing with your toy. He's just looking at me like, fuck off.
Dude, I hope he didn't drink any water. That's probably what it is. Oh, shit. It's just like that little kid in the movie.
Oh, God, I'm so obnoxious.
Hello? Yes?
I love it, too. It reminds me of, like, the opening credit sequence of Taxi Driver. But it's not. It's like this shitty 70s montage. And also they cut to signs of, where it says zoo, and you see some animal pictures. And then you just, like, it cuts to violence. And you're in the slaughterhouse, and you see a horse's head, getting hacked in half with a huge butcher knife.
Yeah, I mean, they're feeding the zoo animals with it, but I was not expecting to see a real horse head getting cleaved. That was just bizarre.
Yeah, and that's right before you even see a human in the movie.
Uh-huh.
And it's real gore.
Yeah, that was the real thing. That's what made it so gross. And, if you look back at a couple of these other movies, there's always something real in there. It gives a very bad taste to the movie, but at the same time, the movie wouldn't be the same without it.
Right. It seems like that was the director putting his signature on it. And just go, oh, yeah, it's from the guy who did Blood and Guts.
Uh-huh.
It's his
Just
directorial
reminding you.
It was me. There's your horse cut in half. And then he puts up this quote that reads, get a load of this. Our madness engulfs everything and infects innocent victims, such as children's or animals. Says
Right.
Says Francis Thrive. Okay, yeah. Dan was pointing out earlier that it would have been a good sentence without the children or animals. It's weird.
Yeah, because when I read that part as the such as children and animals, it didn't sound like anybody of importance made this quote.
Uh-huh.
It just sounded like somebody who felt everyone else was dumb enough that they had to say that.
If it just said, our madness engulfs everything and affects innocent victims, that'd be better.
Exactly.
But no,
But maybe
kind of
maybe
such as children or animals in this movie, anyway.
I'm thinking they were just trying to tie into what's going to happen.
See, in the remake, we're gonna have bums drinking the water, everything. Oh, so what we're getting to is that basically they're hinting at the fact that the water is dirty, because we see this montage of all the needles and the water, and then you see the animals drinking the water.
Yep. And so I think all of this is just subliminally telling you what's coming, even though you won't get it till you see the movie.
Right.
Then you can make the connection. So after we get this, oh, by the way, who the hell is Francis Thrive?
Yeah, Francis Thrive. I looked him up, and then I looked him up, and then I looked him up, and all I could find is some guy named Dick Thrive, and he's not even a porno actor. But
I was gonna say, is he a porno guy?
Dick Thrive. But
That's a
yeah,
hell of a
there is
porno
no
name.
Francis Thrive, which means maybe it's completely made up, or maybe I'm thinking it's one of his teachers, or something like that.
Somebody who never made fame and whatever they said got lost.
Or it's just made up, such as children or animals.
All right, so
And then
we've gone.
Then we
Go
go
ahead.
straight into the zoo, and that's when we meet the zoo guy and the girl. See, we were talking about this earlier before we did the show too. I don't remember any of the characters' names.
I think I remember the kid, Susie or something like that. But everybody else, I just gave a nickname through the movie because I could never remember their name, even though I'm watching it.
Yeah.
So to me, the head zoo guy, that's just Animal Guy.
The
I
animal
don't know.
guy.
What did you call him?
Animal. I kind of called him Fro Guy.
Fro Guy. That's even better.
That kind of has like a 70s fro.
He had a 70s fro and a big mustache.
And then the girl, I call her Bad Mom.
Yeah, you told me that, and I thought that was much better because I just called her Animal Guy's chick, you know.
Yeah. And the little girl, I just call her the topless kid.
Yeah, we'll get to that part because that was pretty odd. But so we're through. We're getting to see our main characters. So pull us into it from there.
We see our main characters. And
Well done.
The lead actress, again, Lorraine DeSelli, she's from, she starred in Cannibal Holocaust and also House of the Edge of the Park, which is, I mean, she worked with a lot of good directors here. She worked with this guy, Prosperi, in his Oling film. She worked with Umberto Lenzi and Diodato. And she's great. She has a pretty big filmography, and I'm glad to see her in this movie. I think she's a good actress.
I think she is too, even though I'm sure it was on purpose, but to me, she was always just so dead. And maybe that's because her who her character is.
Yeah.
By the way, Kevin, before we even go any farther, I got to ask you this. Just what the hell was her job?
No, I was just about to say that too, because she's a journalist, and I'm like, oh, for what? For who?
Is she actually a journalist? Because I got the impression that she was trying to be a journalist, yet she was always in the lab, but she was never doing anything. I'm just like, what does this woman do?
And she's never home?
Yeah, why is she never home? So I could never figure it out, but let's just say she's a journalist.
Yeah, I think she was a journalist. So they're studying. Actually, first, all right, let's bring this up. When they're first walking through the zoo, they meet almost a token for Italian cinema. They meet the blind man.
Mm-hmm.
The blind man with the dog. This is always in these
one in
horror
every
films.
movie.
Yep. So, and he's always, the first. He knows something that's up that we can't tell. We don't know what's going on.
Because he has heightened senses.
Especially with the Italians, even they always consider the eyes the windows to the soul. Argento does a lot of stuff with blind people and stuff that has to do with eyes, and so did Fulci.
Yeah, but I always thought they did that because let's face it, if you couldn't see and you couldn't see to defend yourself, would that not be the most frightening thing in the world?
And just hearing it and imagining what the monster
yeah,
looks like.
Yeah, hearing something coming at you, but you have no idea what it really is, or if you do, you don't really know when you're going to get it. Or maybe like in some of those movies, and I can't give any names at the moment, but you're blind and the creature's right there. You can sense it, but you don't know where it is, even though it doesn't kill you. How terrifying would it be not to be able to look around and see it? I don't know. Maybe it's more terrifying to actually look around and see it.
Anyway, this blind guy is a recording artist. And he sits out there in the zoo and records all of the sounds of nature. And he wants to combine them to an orchestra and create an album called Nature Weeps. Which,
yeah, depressing.
I'm just like, oh, sorry, you went blind, bro. But at least you can walk. You got both knees working.
Yeah. Obviously he's depressed and just wants to bring everybody else down. You'd think he'd do something more uplifting of nature.
How sad. You're just like one of the zoo workers and you go by. There's the blind guy who shows up every day. He's recording the animals. Hi, how you doing? I'm recording Nature Weeps. It's like, all right. Okay, I gotta go pick up poop now.
Yeah, he was kind of a weird guy, but another key point in the movie happened right after they got finished talking. The blind man's dog ran over and started drinking water.
Yep.
That was coming up from off the hoses, I guess, from the guys cleaning.
That's the first shot of someone drinking the water.
Mm-hmm. Since the opening credits, where we watched the tigers do it. It's funny how the first time I saw this movie, it never dawned on me. All these water shots, and I never once thought about it.
Yeah. It's almost like a Crazies kind of movie.
In a way, yeah.
If Crazies started at the zoo.
Yep.
That's not a bad idea. Crazies 2. We went zoo. Crazies 2, this time in the zoo.
Yeah. But anyway, so now we come up to another rather traumatizing scene. Because now, it's kind of an introduction to Animal Guy's job and his chick. Because they're going around tending to the animals. And obviously, he's like a macho superstar because, he's the only one brave enough to go into a cage and, be face-to-face with all these wild animals.
Yeah, he's unaware that it's 84. He still thinks it's 77, and he's macho and cool.
Exactly.
He's like 5 years behind, but he's really close.
But damn it if he ain't tough. But yeah, so he's got to go in and give a shot to one of the tigers so they can take it back and do whatever they need to. And I guess there's a problem with the cubs, so he goes into the cage, and everything's cool. I mean, he's doing well, and he shoots this. He gives this injection to this tiger, and it's supposed to knock him out.
And it's real.
That's what disturbs me, because during this process of this tiger going to sleep, it went into a frickin' what do you call it? Epileptic seizure.
Yeah, that's the way to piss off your girlfriend moment right there. Just like, oh, damn it,
Yeah.
not this scene. Because if it was a guy, if it's fucking hostile and that person's getting ripped apart slowly, chicks can take it. But when you see this, what they do to the tiger, it's sad. Like, it affected me, too. This is fucked up.
Yeah, I thought that was... It's like, that's a part of it I didn't really need to see. Just, I know it's a horror movie, but in this case... Cut away when that happens, and then just come back when it's asleep. And
Well,
I'm good.
We should explain what happens. Is basically he tries to put the tiger to sleep because it's being rowdy or whatever, and he shoots it, and then it collapses, and it does this weird like curl up, twitchy convulsion thing, right?
Yeah.
And,
and his girlfriend's all upset.
Mhm.
And what does he say?
He doesn't just
No.
fall asleep. He's like, "Fuck no!"
Yeah.
He's resisting, and
So Animal's guy's girlfriend's upset, and Animal guy's just all like, no, it's good. This is how it happens. It's all right.
She's still awake. How long will it take?
Oh, 5 seconds, that's all.
She's having convulsions. Rip.
Normal reaction, Laura. She's all right. She'll be taking a nice trip to dreamland.
so I love this too because it's great. 'Cause now they got the tiger asleep, so the filmmakers are all okay. So they put some fake blood on the tiger's chest, and they have the guy walk up and goes, "Oh," because it has a little baby cub, and he puts his hand on the nipples and goes, "Oh, little bastard of a cub was chewing on her nipples, bit her nipples off," and it's hilarious. You're just like, "Oh, what?" And then he picks up the cub, and the cub's like, "Oh."
That little devil of a cub's bitten her nipples. Look at that, they're bleeding.
Is that why she kills her own?
Yeah. Or it could be that being in captivity makes her act strangely.
So you need to be more gentle when you're getting milk. And she's
Like
afraid.
thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, like to think and understand what he's saying.
That line
But he is kind of
cracked me up. I just remember I wasn't paying attention to the movie. I was looking somewhere else, and I just heard that line.
But there's still this one. Yeah, little bastard.
Fucking started laughing.
And by the way, this is the first of many lines that this guy says that just... I mean, if you wanted to do quotes from a movie, they'd all be his.
Yeah. This is classic.
So that was the first one.
So the two are starting to flirt. Is that correct, Dan? Do you feel like they're flirting together?
I think the guy is flirting very heavily, and I think the woman is not
He's
really...
resisting.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like she's opposed, but she's definitely not into
But
it.
something was also telling me when I was watching it at first, like, these two fooled around before for some reason, I thought.
I think so. I think they have history. I just think that he's trying a lot harder, and she's just really not wanting to go that way. I don't know. It's a theme throughout the movie, really.
And what are they discussing in the lab?
Well, they're actually discussing the fact that the mom is not a very good mom, and the guy, an animal guy, is trying to say, hey, we should get married, and she just needs a father to give her guidance because her mother's too busy. So he's taking jabs at her. But what I liked about this whole sequence is, even though it's not one shot, this whole dialogue literally went from animal guy going from one animal to a different animal, and he's always in the cage and picking them up and pulling snakes out. It's just like he's Dr. Doolittle
Yep.
of the of the 70s, the 70s hair.
Hey, Pasha, you sick? What's the matter? Nervous? Are you?
Dr. Frolittle. That's what we're going to call him.
Dr. Frolittle. Yep.
Yeah,
Frodo.
but I mean, Frodo. But that's the impression I got. It's like they were showing just how close to the animals he is or something, because they must have gone through 10 different animals, and they do different shots, and while the dialogue seemed to go seamlessly, he was always he's picking up a cub, then he's over here with the big tiger, then he's over here with a lion, and he's going animal to animal.
And I seem to notice that there's a theme about electronics going bad, or that they're trying to make electronics look like they just get in the way of normal life.
I just hope it's not a blackout.
No, it's nothing. Now, don't you start to worry.
Yeah, if you ask me, the problem is people use too much energy. Mix masters, dryers, TV sets, and there's no end to it. They just put a plug in the wall and don't give a shit about anyone else.
Well, back then, I think to a certain extent they did. I mean, a lot of this stuff was in its infancy. You know, electronic surveillance. You know, back then it was like, oh my God, we can finally put cameras around. Of course, you had to feed 2 miles of cable because there was no such thing as wireless. And the pictures were grainy. But it was better than nothing.
Yeah, because they keep cutting to those people. There's 2 people. They're just night guards, correct? That stay there?
Yeah. Yeah, they got them. Actually, there's 3. The old guy and the 2 younger guys.
Yeah. And the old guy's the one that's complaining about their workplace. He's like, all these buttons and gadgets, all nonsense.
Why are you so uptight? This is progress, man.
Progress. That's what you say. All these new machines, TV monitors, little buttons, levers, flashing lights, dials. Automation, they call it. I call it bullshit.
Yeah, he had some good lines on that whole thing. He was basically anti-technology, opposed to where the 2 younger guys who were easily in their late 20s, early 30s, but just younger than him. You know, they're all like, hey, cool it, Pops, that type of thing.
Yeah.
You know, of course, turns around and bites him in the ass later, so to speak.
Yeah. So
anyway,
somewhere at this point is when we first get a glimpse of Topless Girl.
Topless daughter.
Yeah, Topless Kid.
What was disturbing about that, Kevin?
All of a sudden, they just cut to a little girl, and she's laying in bed, right? Or is it on the couch?
No, she's in her bed, and she's like at a weird angle under a blanket.
And topless.
She had a shirt on, but it was only buttoned at the top. And when her door phone starts going off, and mind you, this is a preteen kid.
Yeah.
She jumps up, and there's a full-on topless shot. I mean, it's very quick, but it's not what you're expecting to see from a child.
It's jarring, and just wait, what? The first topless shot in the movie is a little kid.
It's a little kid. And then she spends the rest of the scene running around in her underwear trying to collect clothes to get dressed. It reminds me of some of my dates in the morning.
Yeah, there's no need for that scene. But they did
it just caught me off guard. You know, to me, there is definitely a line of, you know, what's right and wrong about nudity and a child. I mean, this is a child. There should have been no boob shot. I don't care it's in Italy.
And I kind of like the child, even though she's totally annoying and she acts like an adult sometimes. And she's a total bitch. I don't know.
And it has the most annoying toy on the planet.
Yeah, it looks like some sort of weird Kermit the Frog head that just screeches.
Screams.
Yes?
Yeah. But the whole scene was kind of surreal because you're right. She speaks and acts a lot like an adult, but she's still just a little kid.
Yeah, and a little
you
brat.
know, and she's a brat. And I don't. You know what? I actually don't want to call her a brat. She's just pissed off because Mom is never home, and when she's leaving the message on the phone for her mother to get, she even makes mentions, you know, like the fact that, hey, you know, you remember me? I'm the one with curly hair,
right?
You know, and in another comment of, you know, this lady at the newspaper wanted you to call, but that was at 5:00 and it's now 6:30. So hey, good job again, Mom.
Right.
So it sets the tone to where you have an angry child because Mom's never home. And you have Mom, who is a professional, we're assuming, reporter, professional at something, and is just never home and doesn't take care of her child that well. Even back in the big montage we talked about in the lab, one of the things she was saying was how her daughter can take care of herself so well. You know, but anybody who's got a child that age, the daughter should not, you know, they shouldn't be taking care of themselves, I think. Again, in the movie world, in American cinema, that wouldn't have been, none of that would have played out. It would have been different.
You certainly shouldn't be letting your kid go hang out with the director of Africa, Blood and Guts and be topless in movies.
Yeah, I'm still wondering. And you know what's funny is it got past the American censors.
Maybe he was so relieved that his co-director, pedophile guy, was not there. He was like, "Oh, finally, I can have topless kids in my movies without this guy trying to rape them."
Exactly.
You know, do whatever you want. Jekyll Petty's not here. Go ahead, break out the nude kids.
Exactly. Just don't touch them, because you know that's wrong.
At least he never got busted for fucking that kangaroo.
Oh, jeez. Now we're into bestiality. should have known that was coming.
Okay, so after the kids scene is when I guess we cut to the blind guy walking down the street.
Yeah, on his way home after his long day of recording animals.
Walking
and
down.
I guess this... Go ahead.
And he's walking down the street, and they do the cool shot of him going over the gutter with the lights up. That's all creepy. They always do that in the movies. And he passes a young couple in the car. Of course, they're humping. And the director's nice. He lets us see an adult boob this time. So we're aging with the director going like, oh, we can imagine what the boob will grow up to be.
I couldn't believe my ears.
That's what the director is trying to say. Like, see, this is like the evolution. Because he's scientific like that.
You know, you're right. He went to college and everything. There's got to be thought behind it.
Right.
I don't know. But anyway, this comes up to our first animal attack.
Yes.
And a pretty gross one at that.
So the blind man is passing two couples in the car making love, or beginning to.
Did you hear that?
And then we get to see a bunch of rats just coming out of the gutter, correct? The sewage?
Yeah, they're coming up through the grates, and they're coming up by the hundreds.
And they're
soon everywhere. But yeah, this is where the first attack comes, and a lot of people are afraid of rats, and I've been bitten by one once, and it was not fun. So I can't imagine having 100 of them do it. But so you got the two couple, they're making out in the car, and he's finally got her where he wants her, and she says it's too cramped.
Oh, it's too cramped in here.
So he kicks the door open a bit so their legs poke out. Of course, they don't see that there's 1,000 rats down there, and they're starting to come into the car now.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it's lots of screaming, lots of blood, and there are rats all over the place, on top of the car, in the car. I personally kind of question that a little bit.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean, okay, even though you have a lot of rats, let's face it, you can get up and run through them. As long as you don't slip and fall, you'll get out.
You're going to slip and fall.
Well, in my horror movie, everybody does, but it's like you're trying to save yourself. They kind of just sat there slapping at him, and the famous line, "Oh, it's going up my legs."
Yeah.
Oh, yep, know where that one's going.
I thought they did pretty good. I mean, if you were to read that on script, it's feasible, isn't it?
It's feasible. Rats eat dead people all the time, so I mean, it was kind of spooky.
But rats don't attack living people and eat them alive.
No, I mean, not intentionally. I'm sure there's been some case in all time where somebody walks into a pack of rats that haven't eaten in a month, and they're going to pretty much take down and eat whatever they can.
We got to do research on this, man.
I know.
Figure this out.
Yeah, so there's our first one, and the rats did a quick job, man. They had that guy down to like half his skull.
Yeah, they have some really good crazy close-ups too that are very gory.
Yeah, it was a pretty well done scene. I mean, out of all the ones, this was probably the bloodiest.
At first, when I remember that movie, I didn't remember the rat scene. I didn't remember a lot of gore. I just remembered tons of rats. And when I rewatched it, I was surprised. Oh no, there are the close-ups that have a few effect scenes.
Yeah, I mean, if you look really hard, you can see where some of the rats are fake. Just a furry body that's glued to their arm. Mm. So you can see a rat flinging around. But a lot of the rats are real. And see, that's one of the things I like about this movie. This is back when CGI didn't exist. You couldn't do a CGI animal. You were with real animals the whole time. If you had a scene where the tiger was mauling you, they might have fake, paws and things for the close-ups.
But that's a real tiger.
That's a real damn tiger that's sitting there next to you. You better hope he's got good drugs or your food.
Yep.
So yeah, that's another one of the things I like about this movie.
So the cops end up arriving at the scene. I don't know how they got called or anything. They just show up, huh?
Yeah, all of a sudden you just get a call, something about rats, and the main cop. I don't even know what to call him.
Main cop.
Ned. His name's Ned, I think.
Yeah. Ned.
But yeah, so he's the one that gets out there, and they've got the fire department out there, and they are literally watering down, pressure washing all these rats, and they're doing it to the real rats.
Yep.
They weren't fake ones. These were real, and they were getting blasted by the water. Guess nobody cares about the rat.
Nope.
But
and then the fire starts.
Well, thanks to Animal Guy, because the cop seems to be friends with Animal Guy and calls him up saying, "Hey, we got a rat problem down here." In which case the guy's like, "Why are you calling me? Call sanitation."
Yeah.
And they're like, "Well, they ate people." you know. So he comes down, and next thing you know, they went from water to blowtorches. Now you got rats on fire running all over the fucking place.
Yeah, and some of those rats really got torched.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I saw a lot of fake ones, but I saw some real ones hightailing it out, fully engulfed.
Yep.
And I'm just like, wow. Maybe that was lunch for the crew. I don't know.
Yeah, I wonder what they cut out from that scene.
I can't even imagine, but yeah, that was a lot of rats.
The Wild Beast blooper reel. That'd be You're just like, oh, no. Haha, you're eating a rat.
So, yeah, so now the movie's starting to kick in.
So the guy with the fro, Animal Boy, takes Bad Mom back home, correct? And the daughter, Naked Girl, she went off to his class, correct?
Yeah, she went to dance class with some friend of hers.
So they call Animal Fro Man back to the place. He sees what they're doing with the rats and collects one rat to save for specimens, correct?
Yeah, he collects a few. He wants them to go back to the lab so they can try to see what was going on with them, why they all attacked and stuff.
Okay, so now we're initiated by the rat scene, and then all chaos breaks loose. And the first opening shot to that, I believe, was the elephants, the two elephants breaking through this amazing wall of styrofoam and tubes, hollow tubes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you think the effects people saw that and said, "Oh crap, we really should have painted all the bricks"?
You know, you're the one that kind of ruined it for me. I always watched it from sort of a younger point of view, just going like, "Yeah, elephant." You're like, "Look at the fucking bricks; they're all white." And I was just like, "You're right. Shut up. Stop pointing out the flaws." I
can't help it. I like to see these little details, and when they make a mistake, it's kind of like a little badge on my chest.
There's that feeling throughout the movie too, because of course with the animals, there's a lot of happy accidents that are close-ups in there.
Yeah.
And so yes, all hell breaks loose, and then we go straight to when the lions and tigers and cheetahs start attacking.
Yeah, because I mean, when the elephants take the wall down, then all of a sudden part of the wall crushes their gate security. And by the way, at what point did it become like sci-fi fact that if you have a panel that is one gate goes down and it makes an entire panel in an office fizzle and pop and
yeah.
What? I get a signal like someone's trying to open the cages.
Have you ever seen that happen in real life? I haven't.
No, that doesn't happen. The elephants broke that gate. It would be
cool.
Everything's free. That's an emergency system.
Every animal but monkeys.
There are no monkeys in this movie, are there?
Not a one, and I think maybe that's a good idea. But think of the havoc those things would wreak.
I know. But, that would be in the remake. My mother saw this movie after I was talking about it, and she was like, "There should be a remake." I always kind of was against it, but I guess there could be a better remake. But I don't think anyone would ever do that. Do you?
Nah, I don't think so. I think this is one of those movies that it'll just stay as it is. I'm not sure that people are into these movies like you and I are. But okay, so now all the zoo animals are running rampant in the streets. Was it the tigers that kind of got the attention first?
The first attack, I think, was when they get the guards. And that one's pretty gnarly, because those are cheetahs really jumping on guards. There were lions and cheetahs and tigers, I believe. They had all the different animals.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's a pretty gross scene that's almost similar to Lucio Fulci's Zombie, where the lions kind of have a nest and are around their prey, feeding on them. Mm-hmm. Pretty gruesome scene.
Definitely. And again, we talked about it earlier. Can you imagine being an actor or even a trainer having to let this wild cat maul you around?
Right, and having some weird-looking old guy who's the director of Mondo Cane and Blood and Guts telling you what to do. Just like, no.
No! No, 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 no!
Yeah. Had they seen any of those movies prior, they probably wouldn't trust them.
Right.
You're like, no, I know how your movies end, dude.
One of my favorite kills, or not really favorite, I just think it's very comical, but when the blind guy gets it, and when they first cut to his house and the interior of it, first off, it's just a huge library of books.
With some very pornographic pictures in the back.
Yeah.
Like he can see them. Maybe somebody's playing a joke on him.
And the place is very rich. It's so bizarre. And he knows how to use his 4-track and everything. I'm just, when does he read those books?
Exactly. There's tons of books. Maybe he wasn't always blind.
He has a whole nother story to him, apparently.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wonder what it was. But either way, he's sitting there mixing his animal sounds and looking very discouraged because it doesn't apparently be going well.
And it seems like, the dog has water rage and is hearing the music going like, hey, man, I didn't get enough time on the tracks. My vocals were dimmed down. You totally cut me out of track 1 and 2.
I'm a dog.
So dogs
Exactly.
get mad.
And this one got very angry.
I'm a fucking dog.
So obviously, to those of you who are wondering, his dog eats him.
I'm a fucking dog.
Of course.
Basically.
So it happens to blind people and dogs in Italian horror films.
Exactly. You just don't want to be in a horror film, Italian or blind.
Right.
You're going to be done. So from there, I believe we got the animal guy and his cop buddy are out chasing down animal leads. Is that what they're doing?
Yeah.
Or, oh no, I think this is when they're taking Bad Mother to the school to pick up Bitchy Child.
The guy gets a hold of the mom somehow, and they know to go to the school to pick up the child. And meanwhile, the elephants are just like going through the city, and they start to cut to that cheetah that's going through the city. And I love the way they introduce the cheetah too, because it kind of owns the town, and there's no one out there, and it's like he's doing some mall shopping.
Exactly. He's just cruising the streets, looking for something to get.
Right. And then innocent
And of
girl
course
listening to the most retarded radio station I've ever heard. It's hilarious.
Oh, it was funny. But yeah, so now you got this girl. And oh, by the way, I didn't understand why she stopped her car, got out, and like hit the tailpipe, the exhaust pipe a couple times. What was that about?
Well, it was a problem that she didn't fix. I know that. Because it was still, there was a problem with the car, so they were just sort of implementing that the car already has a problem, and then she got out, the cheetah sees her, and then she has to run in the car, and the car has a problem with it already, therefore it can't go to its maximum speed and outrun the cheetah, I guess.
Not to mention the fact that it's one of those convertibles and the top is not up, so
Yes.
the cheetah could just jump right in.
That's scary as hell.
Yeah, so now we got a cheetah running down a car, and while that may not sound scary, cheetahs can run. So if your car's not going very fast, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
But at one point, she's careening toward animal guy and his cop buddy in the cop car, and this is one of his great lines to me. They see her and she's driving erratically, and the cop's like, "What's wrong with this woman? She's crazy." And animal guys goes, "No, she's not crazy. She's being chased by a cheetah." And he just says it almost nonchalantly as he watches them go by, you know? And I'm just like, that was funny.
You'll never hear anyone yell that. Especially with bad dubbing, it's so brilliant. It sounds like a sample. It sounds unreal.
Is she out of her mind? Hey, look at that. She's not crazy. She's being chased by a cheetah. Christ.
So they turn around to chase her.
Turn around.
And she, of course, gets in a car wreck. It happens when you're driving nuts.
And she hits another car. They're all dead. Fire.
And yeah, cars are on fire. And what killed me, the next thing this guy says just cracked me up because it defied all logic. Animal guy jumps out of the car, looks over to his cop buddy and says,
I'll take care of the girl. You get the animal.
And I'm like, how backwards is that? You know? Fucking Mr. Stash guy wants to go hit on the woman. His woman's not giving him any attention. So and then he's over there trying to drag her out of the car, and the cop is supposed to be taking care of the animal, and all of a sudden he's all like, "Hey, get over here and help me with her." It's like, okay, if you weren't strong enough to pick up the girl, you should have went after the animal and let the cop handle it, you know? So to me, that was funny. That added to the humor. I had to rewind it a couple times because it really just made me laugh.
Cool. I'll get the animal. You take care of the girl.
Yeah. So while this is happening, it seems like they're cutting to the school, and they're cutting back to what's going on in the streets. And I think I'm going to let you talk about.
Yeah, and that's
what
when they
happens.
have the major scene. It could be so much more dynamic, but I give him thumbs up and a hats off to him for trying to pull this off. When the elephants storm the gates and take over the airport, which is it's just all hell breaks loose. Then first they decide to chill out on the track. I believe it's 2 or 3 of them. And they get right in the way of the plane, and it's approaching the runway, and the plane goes up, and then it's too late, and it smashes into the electricity plant, and so the whole damn city goes out of power.
It had to happen. It just had to happen. But again, that was the pilots
Oh, and
saw
of course,
these
so
things in
then the
light.
power goes out, which screws up the bad mom who is stuck in the subway, trying to get to the school.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And then, of course, we got a lion that's down. No, it was a tiger that was down there.
Yeah, then we have the tiger in the sub scene, and I believe that's cross-cutting between a bear attack and by a polar bear, I believe.
Get to the point.
The polar bear comes a little later after this. Oh, no, you're right. At the school, a polar
That's
bear
where the
is
polar bear,
attacking
yeah.
them.
That was cool to see. I've never seen a big polar bear like that on the screen.
No.
It's just so real. Those guys have no neck. It's weird.
They're oddly shaped. I mean, they're really beautiful, but I noticed right away that a lot of the scenes were real, but a lot of them were almost shadow puppet. You could see where they had like a static head.
Oh yeah,
with
that
its
one
mouth
shadow
open.
scene is classic.
It's classic of hey, we can't really let this bear beat these kids around on the floor.
But we can cut up this cardboard and this wood.
We can do it with a shadow puppet.
Yeah. Old school.
Got to give it to him for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we got this polar bear running around in the school, and the only surviving adult is trying to get all the kids, into a room. Mm-hmm. But we did skip one big thing, and the only reason I wanted to bring it up is because I saw a flaw in it. But at one point while the kids were in their dance class, they went and had a water break, and they all start guzzling water, all except Brat Child. Brat Child's all like, nope, I'm going to have my Coca-Cola. Okay, so what my problem with the scene was this. If all of this all happened that day...
How to get in the bottled water.
Yeah, how's it getting into
they did fuck
water?
up by... because it is from one of those old classic... The ones they still have, the gallons of waters flipped upside down.
Yeah, exactly. And those kids were hitting it like it was a frickin' beer party, And they're all laughing.
They're acting like they're drunk off of it, too. I mean, like they're feeling the PCP course through their veins on the first sip here. But, the only way they could have fixed that is what? By having a
water fountain.
A cutaway of the teacher, like pouring tap water into the
that'd be better.
water jug. Just one quick cutaway in the beginning of the movie. We're out of water. I'll fix that. The kids will never know.
They won't know this is not filtered.
Yeah.
So everybody knows now you're going to have kids that are all whacked out. So we'll get to that part. So the kids are running around, polar bears running around. Animal guy and cop show up to save the day with the tiger, who's about to eat bad mom and some strange kid that I swear if she didn't stop screaming how she wanted her mommy, I would have thrown her to that tiger myself.
I don't remember that part either. Well, obviously, you just saw it, so.
Yeah, I watched it again.
I don't remember how she got out of the sub. So those two just go down there, or she was able to call them somehow?
Well, while the tiger was eating a couple of the people, they all managed to get out. Most of them ran one direction, which I'm assuming was close to a station. Bad mom was going to run that way, but somebody's bratty kid went the other way, so she went after the kid. And right about the time that she scooped the kid up, Tiger spots her and starts following her down the tracks. And of course, the kid is just hysterical and I want my mother. And then all of a sudden, the classic, the tiger is following us.
Uh-huh.
But the voice they used was just very irritating to me. And those are in those kind of movies. That's where I'm just like, if somebody doesn't kill this kid, I'm going to.
But I don't remember her getting out. I just remember the tiger giving her that eye while she's in the subway.
Well, the tiger was really getting pretty close to pouncing on him, but Animal Guy and Cop showed up with a team just in time. And, of course, Animal Guy went up and, got his leash on him, and they put a net over him and drugged him. So that gave him opportunity to, be with Bad Mom again. Uh-huh. And that's when they start, next thing you know, they're taking off to go to the school. Of course, they don't know where polar bears are running amok in there. But
how'd
the kids had that nailed down.
They just hid in another room? They went upstairs or something?
Yeah, they went upstairs, and the kind of the goofy den mom had keys to a room that was on the stairway, and the polar bear was coming up the steps. By the way, we should mention the kids had armed themselves with kitchen knives at this point.
Right.
The one boy, Robbie, I guess, he got it into his head to go to the kitchen and pick up all these big sharp knives and distribute it to the kids.
Look, Susie, I got these knives from the kitchen. Take this for self-defense. Hurry now, come on.
Is he the one doing all the imitations of pet noises?
Yeah. He was also doing some shadow puppet stuff, which kind of fits in with the polar bear. But yeah, so they get into the room and they're safe. I don't actually know what happened to the polar bear. Nobody ever really showed.
Right.
Because next thing you know, Bad Mom's coming into the building, and she's trying to find the kids.
This is why the movie, well, it does kind of, all these events happen at the end, and it just sort of spirals to the climax of the movie. You know, we're at full animal rampage here, and then all of a sudden these events are happening. And the way they really wrap it up is by that big powerhouse gore scene when they go to the slaughterhouse. And it's just animal on animal.
I forgot the hyenas are there.
That scene grossed me out because it was real.
Yeah.
I don't know. They get the rights to do that. Hey, we're going to put this hyena in this room with a bunch of pigs, see what happens.
Yeah, I don't know how they get away with that stuff either.
Right.
But, I mean, it was the 80s. Animal rights was different, and it certainly is different in other countries.
Yeah, the animal attack animal scene was scary.
Because it was vicious.
Yeah, and it also kind of gave you the point of view of that's how they are in their natural habitat, and we're just got thrown in there now.
This is why these kind of movies are scary to me.
Right.
You know, while we're in control, we're top of the food chain, something turns things around, and all of a sudden we're on the menu. Most of us don't know how to defend ourselves against an animal. And I can only run so far and so fast.
Right. Dogs scare the shit out of people. If a dog comes running at you, you don't know what to do.
Yeah, you just can't tell if they're coming to say hello, or, you're in my property, now you die.
Right.
So, and I deal with dogs all day, so it's kind of weird. So, yeah, the slaughterhouse scene was epic. It was gross.
Did they only have hyenas in that scene? Or was there also, a tiger or something?
I think they had lions.
A lion in there?
Lion, a hyena. There was another one, and then they were after the horses, the cows, and the pigs.
Yep.
And the hyenas obviously like bacon because the hyenas were over at the pig pen and they were stalking.
Yep. They grabbed on that ear and wouldn't let go.
Oh God, was that not nasty?
It's nasty. The poor little pig.
Jerked that ear
up
right
and it's
off
screaming. Yeah.
Oh.
Horrible
stuff.
Puts
the hairs up. Okay, so
then they're kind of wrapping stuff up. All right, so Bad Mom's going over there, and they're also cutting back to the doctor, who's discovering that there's evidence of PCP in the water.
Yeah.
PCP works the way Valium, morphine, and other psychoactive drugs work.
Exactly. The animal guy, his team figured it out, and they were starting to notify people. And at the same time, I remember what happened to the polar bear. At the same time, the animals are starting to calm down and come off.
Right, that's what cracked me up, because he was like, oh, it's PCP. In a couple hours, they'll be back to normal. I'm just like, oh, what an easy way to end the fucking movie. I'm just like, it's just that, we're out. Everyone just hide for 2 hours. Everyone's on drugs.
Exactly. It's like, I can't believe we didn't think of that earlier.
They calmed down all of a sudden, Doctor. They seem quite normal now. Look at them. Well, don't let them drink. Yeah.
I'd love the ending shot of just all the animals passed out. Oh, what a night.
Well, calm down now and go to sleep.
That was weird.
That was
crazy
party.
I was trying to catch a plane, dude. I was at the airport.
My trunk was packed.
Leo wound up in the car wash for some reason.
We still don't know where the hyenas are.
Yeah, it's like from the animal's point of view, it's a weird hangover film or something.
Oh, God.
The comedy version of Wild Beast.
Yeah, when they saw the polar bear outside, when Animal Guy saw him with the cop, and the cop grabs his gun, he's all, no, he's okay, he's all right now. I'm just like, what? Animals were just killing people. How do you know? And he just walks right up.
So yeah, the animals are coming down, but meanwhile the kids are going up.
Where have you been? In the kitchen. We got some knives. Here, take this for self-defense. If it gets too hard, use it.
Yeah, I guess this was their big twist. But when Bad Mom finally gets up there, she's afraid of where her daughter is until she steps on that obnoxious toy. Which makes that nasty noise. So when she steps in the room, she sees one little girl stabbing a drawing on the ground, muttering something.
With a bloody knife, though, I believe, too.
With a bloody knife. And, of course, the dead den mother is right there, too. So, and then as she's looking around, you see in the because they had the candlelight going, and you see other kids' faces, and they all got knives, and they all look really crazy.
Village of the Damned.
Exactly. And then, of course, you see her daughter, and, well, she was drinking a Coca-Cola, so in my mind, I already knew she's fine, but she was looking like she was one of them.
There could be a good advertisement right there for the remake.
Don't drink PCP water, drink Coca-Cola.
Coke Zero. Yeah.
Anyway, the movie wraps up with the daughter getting close enough to the mom to run up to her while all the other kids start launching at her. And so she slams the door on them. Okay, now this is where the movie started bugging me.
Yeah,
right
you're
there,
always mad about this part. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Dan. Go ahead.
So of course, she falls to the ground and hugs her daughter. I can understand that. Bad mom's been really bad, and now she, almost lost her daughter. Knives are starting to stick through the door. These kids are definitely doing the shining to get out of there.
They're growing all brood on the door.
Right. So all this lady has to do is scoop up the kid and head down the steps. Safety is steps away. No, her and the kid fall back farther onto the landing, farther away from the escape, and she just sits there crying, "Oh, what do I do? I mean, the kids ain't out the door yet. Get off your ass and fucking run is what you need to do." But yeah, I get angry about that because, I mean, even if you're traumatized, you're going to get up and run. Because if you wait till the kids get out, you're going to be a pincushion. There's like 8 of them little suckers with knives. You're not getting away.
It probably just didn't come out. Maybe it was scripted that they both collapse and knives go through the door. End of movie, slug, here's what happened. They show the text. And it just didn't come out as good.
That could be it, because they did a freeze frame of her horrified face.
Right, and it's like, you should have shot more. And he's like, well, everyone's gone now. Fuck.
Maybe they just ran out of film stock and didn't have any money to go buy it anymore.
It did seem kind of desperate with that pause, because you're not expecting it to freeze frame right there.
No, especially because we did see Animal Guy and his cop buddy starting to come up the steps.
Yep.
Who are looking at all the knives coming, poking through the doorway. But I wasn't expecting it to stop right there, and I certainly didn't appreciate the saxophone music kicking in.
Right.
Because it just took down, all...
It's like moonlighting is getting ready to start or something.
Yeah, everything's calm now. The lights are on.
Romantic dinner. Fucking crap.
With a bunch of PCP wired kids.
But it does make it's funny now in retrospect that they chose that music.
Remember forever begins right here and now. We say together.
Yeah, I understand it was the music of the time, the style of the time, but it was a little irritating. This movie could have gone on a little bit longer, another 15 minutes.
Well, that's
easy,
the problem with it. There's no closure. And it's
none whatsoever.
It ends really at the peak of trauma. The kids are about to attack, and
how good would it have been to watch the kids chase the adults around the school with knives?
Right, and the pseudo hero is coming up the stairs. There's no real hero in this movie, though. Kind of, I guess only the animal guy, huh? A little bit.
I would say they made him the hero, although I wouldn't call him a hero. Let's face it, he's got a good rapport with the animals. I'd be willing to bet those kids would have cut him up in a heartbeat. There was going to be no helping him.
Yeah.
Man could sue the bear, but a kid's going to get him. So yeah, it ends in a weird way, but overall, it's a good movie. I enjoy it. I even enjoyed it this morning when I saw it again.
You get them addicted, and on they go.
And then also an extra note. Again, the director. This was his last movie. This was his only film that was nonfiction and the only screenplay he ever wrote. After this, he went back to studying ethanol. If I still can't say it, ethanol. He went back to studying stuff that doesn't relate to horror movies, but relates to animals and the human condition.
It's kind of interesting that this was his one and only.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, he's dead. That's right. He's not doing much anymore.
Then he's just like, oh, fuck making movies. I'm going to go back. Just study animals and stuff.
Jeez. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot of animal attack movies out there, but there are a handful throughout the, from the 80s to current, I would say.
Yeah, it seems like they're making a small comeback. I don't know. I love them. They're one of my favorite genres, but they are rare and few. In between. What are there? There's Day of the Animals, that one. You were talking about Prophecy. We got to go over Prophecy in the show too. I haven't seen the movie, so I'll be entering it with virgin eyes. But all I know is it's PG-13, and I've seen the monster.
Yeah, everybody has, but I'm not sure that one's going to qualify as this type of movie because let's face it, that was it's a mutated animal from man-made problems. It's not really like an animal's gone berserk. It's like 5 animals mutated into one. It's a sci-fi.
Yeah.
But they had other movies like Food of the Gods. I remember that one. The giant rats scared the hell out of me.
I want to re-see Food of the Gods Part 2.
I don't even remember that one.
Oh, I remember it is really bad. It's like that 80s quality direct-to-video that was going on. But the big cheesy monsters are great because they're big cheesy monsters. You can tell they're real props. They look fake as hell, but it's real props. It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, I think I tried to watch it a couple of years ago, and I couldn't make it through. It's good to fast forward through.
Wasn't Food of the Gods 2 the one with the giant ants?
I don't think so. I think it's a giant rat. I don't know.
I can't remember, to be honest with you. I know I saw one was giant ants at a sugar factory. That had some great ant kills in it. But I know I watched a newer movie called The Pack.
Yeah, The Pack.
Was it called The Pack?
The Pack?
Okay. Yeah, there's an animal attack movie, and that one's actually pretty good.
All black dogs.
All black dogs, and dogs are scary, and this one's on Netflix, so anybody can watch it.
Yeah, it's worth checking out.
But yeah, just anybody who's interested in it, Google animal attack movies.
And again, the best way to find wild beasts is you can find it on YouTube. There's a few people that have it out there, and I'm not too sure about how to actually own a version on DVD. The only way I've seen it is through secondhand sources, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's out on DVD. I'm actually going to look it up here real fast on Amazon.
By the time we broadcast this, we'll have the information for you. Or I'll cut this part out and you won't know shit. Unless I leave that part in by accident, then I'll be all sorry.
You're so you're so nice to everybody. Let's see, wild beasts. Let's see what it says. Nope, it is not on Amazon. So I would say probably eBay. See if anybody's got like a VHS to DVD copy of it that they got up. Don't really know how legal that is, but for now, YouTube it.
YouTube works.
Watch it on YouTube. That's what I watched it on.
Yeah, well, who gives a fuck? It's over now.
And it was good. It was great. But now it's over. But now it's over. But now it's over. But now it's over.
Goodbye.